Hi there, it's Jason Snedden, the Abundance Activator, and I'm here with the lovely, fabulous Di Foster. And I've invited Di on to have a conversation about her journey. I met Di, it must have been about a year, 18 months ago.
At least.
Maybe even longer. And her journey has been a really fascinating journey from being diagnosed with terminal cancer and coming through to radical remission. And she showed me what was possible with a diagnosis like that, because I'd gone through losing my mum to terminal cancer and actually my dad last year. So both my parents departing onto the next realm through a terminal cancer diagnosis. And with mum's passing, for me, it woke me up to be doing more, being more, sharing my gifts with the world. So hers has been a gift, and I from going through that experience with her, and it also opened me up to what happens when we pass on. So meeting you opened me up to what was possible from how we can actually heal ourselves, how we can actually do amazing things. So I was so excited that when you said, yeah, I'm in.
It was a big yeah.
So it was.
Of course.
So can you just share your journey and how did you do that, and what your journey around that, and how what you do, how you help others with your work today?
Sure. Look, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. It has been a really interesting journey, and it's been a 10-year journey so far. The healing part of it actually happened relatively quickly. So I was diagnosed with terminal cancer. I was given a life expectancy of 12 months with a 0% chance of lasting 18 months.
Wow.
And it was suggested that I go home and put my affairs in order. And I remember thinking, my affairs are not that out of order that they're going to take me 12 months to get in line. So I can do other things until that day. And I guess in that moment, or in the moments over about a week, there was this quiet space within me that all the noise and the clutter of going on of what this meant and everything else, there became a real stillness. And I guess in that, my mother would tell you that this is the miracle. This is the bit that my mother would tell you is the miracle, is that I shut up long enough to listen, because my heart spoke to me and it said three things. It said, Di, if you've only got 365 days left on this earth, for God's sake, be happy. Choose happiness in every single moment that you can.
Wow.
Simply just choose happiness. The second thing was,
I just got goosebumps running through my whole body.
So choose happiness. And it's like, the second thing was go natural. And I thought, what the hell does that mean? And I knew what that meant. They were only offering me palliative care chemo. It's not hard to say no to. I've been through treatment before, so all I knew was that I just needed to do things naturally. I needed to let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, and just let my body lead. I decided then and there, I'd been an asthmatic for 30 years and I'd always taken asthma sprays to exercise, and I just decided then and there that I was actually going to meet my body with where it was at, not where I wanted it to be. So I wasn't going to throw some stuff down my throat so that I could do the things that I'd done in the past. I was actually just going to allow my body to be wherever it was and where it needed to be. And I was actually going to let my body guide, what that journey looked like. And I didn't really know, I didn't have any fixed ideas of I'm going to do this treatment or I'm going to do this. I did things when they felt right for as long as they felt right, until they didn't feel right again. And then I either did nothing or I moved on to something else. And the third thing,
how did you know? How did you know what felt right and what didn't feel right? What was your ability to tap into that? How did you do that?
So I've always had that feeling, just that gut feel. Like I can always, like my sister will ring me and say, Di, answer some questions for me, and she'll just give me the numbers of the questions, and I'll go yes, no, maybe, or maybe, but not quite yet, you know. And it'll be like, oh, cool, thanks. And I go, did I do any good? You know, she'll be like, yeah, great. And I do the same with her. So it's just that gut feeling that you get when you just go. And I think that when big things happen, we drop down to what's important really easily. Everything else washes away. So you don't have all of that noise going on. You don't have the, oh, should I buy this outfit, or should I do this, or do I need to go and be seen this? All of that shit just drops, and you just go, what's actually important? And so dropping into yourself is so much easier in my experience when big things happen. Interestingly enough, I think it, you know, like with your mum, it's like that drove you into diving deep into your own gifts and waking you up, you know, because that big stuff happens. You know, we had that realization that, holy cow, I'm not going to be here for quite as long as I thought I would, or life is shorter than I ever expected. And which leads me to my third point. The third thing I heard was be grateful. And I did laugh at the time. I thought, I'm 38 years old. I've just met the love of my life. What the hell have I got to be grateful for when I've just had this diagnosis? Like, are you serious? Like, be grateful. That turned into one hell of a journey just on its own. And so I just embarked on 365 days of choosing happiness, letting food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, and being incredibly grateful, just astoundingly grateful.
Wow. So it's so interesting, you know, what you're sharing has such a reflection on what the collective is going through with the you know, coronavirus. You know, it's interesting. We're being called in to still be present, to all our distractions are being taken away. And it's interesting because this is the conversations I've been having to people, is to you know, the quickest way to move out of fear is to reach for feeling good, to be joyful. And you do that through, the quickest way to do that is through gratitude. So it's really interesting that your experience is actually relates very much to what people are going through collectively.
I think it's really interesting because one of the things people would say about me is I'm the most positive person that they'd ever meet. And I absolutely disagree with that. What I would say is that in that piece I said about, you know, at the beginning, choosing happiness, what that turned into was being grateful. What that tuned into was being present. And what I mean by that is that I don't think we're meant to just experience one thing. We're meant to, you know, experience an array of emotions and feelings. And so, you know, choosing happiness, yes, don't get stuck in anything, but choose happiness when you can. But also just, I firmly believe it's okay to be realistic about our situation and to say, look, this is the situation. I don't believe we're judged for the cards that we're dealt, but I certainly believe it's the way we play the game. And we are 100% in control of our reaction to how we choose to react in these situations. And, you know, all of us in this current day are in so many different situations. Like, you know, for us in our household, we locked down early because I have an underlying blood condition, you know, that I self-monitor, you know, and I've done such an amazing job, you know, dealing with that over my life, you know, with this particular virus that's going around. You know, wouldn't be particularly good for somebody like me. So I'm taking every precaution I can. So it's not that I'm not realistic. I just think that once you understand the situation you're in, then you get to choose how you react to it. And, you know, once we've got our health sort of ticked off and we're doing what we need to do there, then you kind of think, well, financially, what's that going to look like? And, you know, we can only do what we can do. And when I think of our situation, we've got a property that's going to be settled, and it's going to be difficult, and there's a whole lot of things running through my head that it could mean X, Y, Z. And instead I'm just thinking, I'm just totally putting love out to the situation that it will resolve itself in the best way possible. And I don't even know what that's going to look like. And I think that's the really interesting thing, is that when I was unwell, I didn't know how. You know, people say to me, how do I heal? And I'm like, well, that's the first thing you don't do. Don't work out the how, just know with every cell in your body that it's possible. And take away the demand. You know, invite the play, you know, invite the possibility into your life. You know, people say to me, but you don't understand, I have to heal. And I'm like, the universe doesn't work like that. The universe will dance with you when you let go of your expectations. And I never expected to heal. I knew that it was possible. I never demanded that it happen to me. I just thought I could play with 5 years instead of 12 months. And so that's what I went for. And every day I asked that my symptoms be reduced. I asked my cancer to move over so that I could breathe a little bit more. And I didn't evict it. I said, calm down. You're not getting evicted. It's okay. You know, because I think sometimes if you say to a cancer, you're out, it's like, you know, it's like, no, we're just talking. I just need to breathe. Because I said to my cancer, it's really simple. If you take up too much space in my lungs, then I'm going to die and you won't have a host. So, you know, it's like, we've got to share this space if you want to be around. It's such a weird thing to say, but it's like, we just played this dance.
And did that knowing, or that way of working with the cancer, was that intuitive? Did you just intuitively come to that?
100%. My whole journey was done intuitively. People come to my door and they'd say, oh, look, I've got this book for you. It's the China study, you know. It's like, this is going to heal you. And I'd say, thank you so much for your thoughts. And I'd take the book and open the cupboard and put it in there and shut the door. Because there was no book that I read. There was one book. There was one book that I read about miraculous healings. That was the book that I read about a healer, and I think he was in Germany. His name's Adam, and I read his book because it
showed you that it was possible.
It just enforced that it was possible. It was just, I just allowed my cells to believe it with all my heart. I didn't demand that it happen to me. I just told the world that it was possible, and the more I believed it, other people would experience it.
Yeah, wow. Gosh. And so with the food, with the eating, the food, clean eating, and so on. So is that what did you do there? And do you still practice clean eating? And because I think a lot of people will benefit from that conversation as well.
Yeah,
myself included. Who's just had a cake.
So here's what I tell people when they ask what I eat. I say, mind your own business. Now, the reason I say that is that it's fundamental to what I believe. I have worked out what works for me. Now you go work out what works for you.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm a Kiwi girl, you know. I never gave up my grass-fed meat.
Yeah, right.
I didn't eat truckloads of it. I had a small portion of protein on my plate with huge amounts of vegetables.
Yeah.
Not underground vegetables, over the ground vegetables, because that's what works for me.
Right.
And I had some fat, and I had, you know, I know roughly what works for me. I don't, yeah, and I've tweaked it, you know, as I've got better and I train differently, then I've tweaked it a little bit more. Right. But you know, it's really none of your business.
Yeah, great answer, because you're exactly right. It's we're all unique beings, and we all have different needs, don't we? We all require different fuel for our makeup, and apparently our blood type and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So again, you went with and you connected. Is this right for me? And you got the yes or the no. Is that how? Right. Yeah. Right. Okay.
And I just went with how I felt. Some days I need a little bit of carbohydrates. You know, if I'm exercising or if I'm being more active. Generally speaking, don't get me wrong. If I started eating carbohydrates, I can like shove them into my face like that. You know, like it's just that's a really good sign that they're not that good for me. Where I eat other foods, I'm intuitive and I think, oh, I'm full. With a carbohydrate, you know, for cake, I'm like, I don't understand anybody that can eat one piece of cake. That's just weird to me. It's like, weird. So it's just intuitive as to, what works for me. So the really weird thing for me is that because most people think that I'd eat bliss balls and I'd eat refined sugar free and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing for me is I don't do well on processed foods. No matter whether they're paleo or whether they're no grain, just the fact that it's been ground up and it's now an incredibly dense food, I don't do particularly well on it. So even, bliss balls and all that sort of stuff that people go, but they're really healthy and there's no sugar in them. It's like, I don't care. I find them really difficult to, so that's why I say it's your business. You need to figure out what works for you. And it's based on, how much you exercise and what you're going through. Some people do really well on depleting their diet. I had a really clear intuition that I didn't need to deplete my body. So, when you go through like juicing detoxes and all that, that was not where I went. I juiced every day, but I did not go through a massive detox. I had the sense that my body needed to be built up, not stripped back.
So I get the feeling, the sense, knowing my intuition's giving me this, that you put yourself first. You love yourself 100%. Can you speak to that? Am I on track with that?
Oh God. It made me cry. It was a big journey for me.
Yeah.
Being enough to be my own reason.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time in my life that I truly went, I'm not living for anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested, and it's such a strange journey because about 14 months after I was diagnosed, my husband said to me, you are seriously one pain in the ass again. You must be well. Now, this is a man that we check for a pulse, because he's a rock, you can set your time by him. He's working from home at the moment, but his routine has not changed, except he sleeps in 15 minutes more because it takes him less to get to work. He has to walk up the stairs. But this man is a serious rock. He's amazing. And so he said to me, you're a pain in the ass again. You must be well. And I said, well, I've been feeling consistently well for such a long time. I think you're right. And he said, well, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? And I said, well, I'm not having children after I'm 40. So you've got 6 weeks to impregnate. Now, he came up with the best answer. He said, sweetheart, we've been through 5,500 earthquakes. 2 of our businesses have been relocated. 1 of them will be relocated again. Your entire full-time job is 11 open insurance claims that will determine our financial future. We are living at your sister's because we don't even know if we've got a house because we can't get down the street. Sorry,
true.
That's a New Zealand alert system. It's right. I did turn my phone off, but the alerts ignore that. So I'm just going to turn my phone off. Just hold on to it.
Okay. As long as you don't have to do something,
Yeah. No, they're just telling us we have to go into lockdown tonight, which I'm pretty sure we all know. So, he said to me, this is the situation. And I said, okay, good point. And he said, well, there's no actions happening at your sister's house. There's 6 of us living there, sweetie. I just thought I'd point. It's okay. I'm a solutions-based girl. I have booked a weekend away at Akaroa. You haven't got 6 weeks. You've got 3 nights. And after that, come our first wedding anniversary, you are getting some sort of permanent solution that I never have to think about whether I'm having children or not. That's the deal, because I'm not having children after I'm 40. I've always known that. That's the deal. So he said, sweet, 3 nights in Akaroa. I could just see him like, sweet, 3 nights just to do the business. I'm in. So, what I learned that weekend is dark chocolate and port and taking care of business were the only things that happened. And they, dark chocolate and port were not part of the 14 months prior. I'd been right off those, but we had a very good weekend on dark chocolate and port. And let's just say I discovered that my husband performs incredibly well under pressure. Because 3.5 weeks before my 40th birthday, I gave birth to our one and only child, our only son, Jackson James Foster.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Amazing. You know, and it's just, yeah, I mean, what can I say? Just an incredible journey. And through that, you know, it's interesting because we talked about loving ourselves, you know, and I didn't even get checks that I was okay before I got pregnant, you know. And with having a child, I understand how people now say, you know, they want to live for their children, or, you know, they want to be here for their child. And while that would be an easy default position, Jackson's 8 now, and he knows that I'm a person in my own right. And he knows that I get up every day and I'm Di, and I'm a mum. And I mean, I don't even think of myself as a wife because I have such a partnership with my husband. It's not a job or anything like that. Like, being a mum is a job. Being a wife is not a job. It's a privilege to share my life with him. So through that journey of having Jackson, I've still maintained that I'm enough to be my own reason to get up in the morning. And I think it's been hard at times, but that's definitely something I'm proud of, and that I definitely do work on.
The other thing that I'm hearing from you is there's this unwavering knowing, you know, like when you get into that state of unwavering knowing, just like you knew that, well, we got to do the business over these 3 days, and I'm you know, having my child before I'm 40. It was this unwavering knowing. Did that come from your journey with you know, coming back into full health? Was that there, or was that inherently there before that?
In my 20s, I was very much like, there's boxes to be ticked. And I assumed that if I was a good girl and ticked all the boxes, that I'd end up happy. And I got to 28 and I was miserable. And I just picked up my dog and left my life. And so I'd already been on a journey of self-discovery and putting myself first and figuring things out differently. And I don't know, like, these things come along and it's like, I have no excuses. I can, you know, like, for once, I can just selfishly just say, I don't want to do that. Or I do want to do this. Or, you know, and I think that I had been practicing that for quite some time. It had been something that I was developing. Although a lot of people that knew me in my 20s would say that I've always been unwavering. Like, in some of the work that I did, I just poured it into that, where I hadn't poured it into myself. So now I definitely feel like I'm the center of my own universe, for want of a better word.
Yeah. So good. So good. Such a wonderful conversation. Now, so how do you support people today? What do you do? What with your experiences? How do you take that out into the world?
I do a couple of things. I have done quite a bit of speaking, which I love doing, although that won't be happening for a while. So love this online stuff. It's awesome. I do 2 other things. I have a number of clients that are more executive business type clients, because that's been a natural workspace for me all my life. I've always been into business, and I really love that because I understand the environment, but I also understand their desire to want to be the best person they can be on their journey. So I love working with, I just like working with anyone that really wants to be the best person they can be. So I love that space. I love that work. I work a little bit differently in that I support clients over a period of time, so that there's no sort of, you know, there's phone calls and there's discussions, and when they need me, I'm on. And, you know, so I hold space for a number, only a certain number of clients. I also, because of the journey that I've had and the empathy that I have for people on that journey, I take a small number of clients where I help them through that process. And I think that, or through their journey. And I think the interesting thing about that for me is all of them generally tend to be terminal. And it's a really interesting process for me to help people through, because I don't have any judgment on where we end up, in terms that, you know, I'm 10 years down the track, your mum wasn't. I'm not right and she wasn't wrong. No. It's just, it was different time. Do you know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people, have that thing of like somehow that dying's wrong. And
Yeah.
you know, for me, I became really at peace with death, and I literally take death everywhere I go in my handbag, because she is my very best friend to remind me that I need to make the most of today, because one day I will go with ease, grace and flow. But until that day, it's my job to do the best I can with each day that I do get given.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, well, none of us are getting out of here alive, and we all have our divine timing when we go, and you know, and I know both my parents went in their divine timing.
I love that.
I didn't understand this so much when Mum went, but certainly when Dad did, and I was there when he left, and it was just this most beautiful, for a man that was quite difficult. He had this most beautiful transition.
Did he let go?
Beautiful. He did. It was just,
bless.
and I had the time to call in the space and create the space for him, and it was just this most beautiful transition. You know, it was an honor to witness, actually. So yeah, none of us are getting out of here, and and we all have a divine plan. You know, it's a divine timing, and the more we can actually be okay with that, the more peace we'll have around. You know,
people think that dying's the problem. Dying isn't the problem. Living's the problem. You know, it's so true. Like people go, oh, I might die. It's like, no, you are going to die, and that's not a problem. Just let that one go. What are you doing with the living bit?
Yeah.
And I think that even what we're going through today is a reminder of like, what am I doing with my days? You know, what am I actually doing with my days? Am I doing the things that are important to me? Am I doing a whole lot of stuff that fulfills everyone else's buckets? You know, like one of the things that I teach my clients is that's your cup. You hold your own cup. Don't go and give your cup to anybody else to fill. You know, you need to fill your cup. Yes, of course, I'll lend you some of mine if I can, and you know, all of that sort of thing. But you don't go and give your cup to someone else and then berate them because they didn't fill it for you. That's your job. And we, you know, if we're enough to be our own reason, you know, we do take care to fill our own cup every day.
Oh, it's so true. I think that's a beautiful way to end this wonderful, wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll post your details as part of this post if you want to reach out to Di. And I know you're going into lockdown tonight in Christchurch, New Zealand. So I wish you well with that journey. And I know that you will be sailing through it beautifully with your beautiful family. And I look forward to continuing to share this journey with you, with our paths crossing along the way.
Absolute pleasure, Jason. Thank you.
See you later.
See ya.